What is up? Welcome to or back to the How to Vegan podcast. My name is Kristen. I'm the host of this podcast, and I'm super excited that you're tuning in today because today is going to be a fun little episode. We're going to chat all about vegan candy. I thought this would be a really good time of year to release this episode since Halloween is right around the corner, and I get a lot of questions, especially in my How to Vegan Facebook group, about vegan candy options, especially for those of you who have kids. You're like, oh my God, I want to let them go trick-or-treating, but I don't want them to get candy that isn't vegan, and how do I deal with this whole situation? So I'm here to help you out. I'm here to make things a little bit easier for you guys. I'm going to chat about some of the non-vegan ingredients that you need to be on the lookout for when you're shopping for vegan candy or sorting through your kids' trick-or-treat pile of candy. And then I'm going to run you through a list of all of the vegan candy options that are out there. And oh my God, you guys, let me tell you, there are a ton of vegan candy options, even more than I knew. Some of the candy on this list I didn't even know is vegan. So I'm really excited that I put this episode together for you guys, because now when I have a little craving for candy, I know what I can get and I know what I can't get. So yeah, I hope you guys find this episode super, super helpful. And I am so excited because today's episode is sponsored by Osea Malibu. They are the original plant-based, results-driven skincare line. And like I've said in my past few episodes, I absolutely love their products. They're like life-changing, hands down, the best skincare products I have ever used. My skin is clearer than it has ever been. And if y'all know me, if you've watched any of my previous YouTube videos, you'll know that I have suffered with a little bit of acne on my chin. And this is the first time that it's really like going away and it's clearing up and it just feels so healthy. So I'll be chatting more about Osea in a hot minute. So stay tuned for a little friend discount code that I have for you because you're going to want to get in on this. If you are not following the How to Vegan Podcast Instagram account, then please take a second, type in How to Vegan Podcast in your little Instagram search bar, hit that follow button. I would love to connect with you there. And if you're listening to this episode, go ahead, take a screenshot of the episode that you're listening to, whether it's this episode or a different episode that you're finding really, really helpful, and share that screenshot on your own Instagram story, and make sure to tag me, Kristen.pound, and the How to Vegan Podcast account as well, and I will definitely repost those because I love when you guys share these episodes with the people that follow you, and it just feels so good to know that you guys are finding value in these episodes because that is what I'm all about, giving you guys as much value as possible. Another exciting thing about this episode is that I've got another freebie for you guys. I think it's been a hot minute since I've included a free PDF download with the episode, but I've got another one coming at you. So this episode is going to include a little freebie. If you just click on the link in the show notes, or you can go to my website, click on the podcast tab, find this episode, and there'll be a link to download the little freebie as well. I'm just going to give you a list of all of the vegan candy that I mentioned in this episode. So you can go download that. You can save it to your phone, to your computer. You can print it off. And next time you're at the store, if you're like, oh, what's the vegan candies you mentioned? You'll just have a list right there, ready for you in alphabetical order, making it easy for you guys. If this is your very first time tuning into the How to Vegan podcast, then make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast listening platform. So whether that's iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, I'm in a lot of places, then make sure you're subscribed or you're following. That way you'll get notifications each time I upload a new episode, which by the way is every 2 weeks. That's the schedule I've been working with for the past little while. And if you ever just need a jumping off point, you really just can't remember where to go, you can always just head to my website, kristenpound.com. That's Kristen pound, like the word pound.com. And like I said, you can just click on that podcast tab. You can find whichever episode you're looking for, and you'll find everything you need there, including the links to the Spotify, to the Apple Podcast, to YouTube, all of those little outlets. So you can go ahead and share that with people if they're looking for a way to find the podcast as well. And like I said, you'll also find the link to this episode's freebie. So if you're interested in downloading that list of vegan candy, then go do that there. And if you ever just want to head straight to the podcast tab on my website, just type in kristenpound.com/podcast. Easy peasy. And if you're really, really loving the podcast, then please head on over to iTunes or the Apple Podcast app and leave a rating and review. I've been seeing you guys leave more ratings and reviews lately, and it makes me so, so happy. Some of the reviews on there are just so nice, like just so nice. So thank you so much to those of you who have done that. Even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, it really, really helps the podcast out if you go leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, leave a little rating, subscribe there, and that'll really just help push the podcast up. It'll help more people see it, which again is the goal. Like I always say, go ahead, share that vegan love. It feels good, and that ripple effect is so, so, so real. You share it with one person, they might share it with someone else who shares it with their entire family, whose grandma might get some benefit out of the episode. Who knows? Just share the episode if you're loving it, and you never know what kind of a difference you can make. Okay, one more thing that I did want to mention before I dive right into the episode is that near the end of the episode, there is like a slight clicking noise. I don't really know what it's from, and it gets progressively worse as the episode nears the very end. And again, I don't know what it's from. I've been using the same audio recording equipment and software and everything since the beginning of the podcast. So I apologize if it's super annoying. Yes, I know it's there. I'm going to figure out what it was and get rid of it before the next episode. But I just wanted to let you know, some of you might not even hear it, but me editing it, I can hear it. And I did everything that I could to edit it out and reduce it as much as possible, but it's slightly there, slightly annoying. I apologize. Technical issues are a bitch, so thank you so much for being patient with me and understanding. Alrighty, enough housekeeping stuff for right now. Let's get into today's topic, vegan candy. Okay, so let's start off with the definition of vegan and veganism. Some of you might already know what these are, but for anyone brand new to my podcast, I just like to start the episode off with this so we're all on the same page. So the definition of vegan is a person who does not eat or use animal products, and the definition of veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practical, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. So in dietary terms, it refers to the practice of excluding all animal products, including meat, fish, poultry, eggs, animal milks, honey, and any of their derivatives. But the word vegan extends to more than just diet. Vegans typically don't wear leather, fur, wool, or silk, and are against zoos, circuses, rodeos, animal testing, and really any other industry that just exploits or abuses animals for no reason. Usually just for human entertainment or for human taste buds. We're just not cool with it. Just not cool with it. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page as far as what vegans actually are and what vegans actually practice, let's chat about some ingredients that are commonly found in candy that are not vegan, aka some non-vegan ingredients to look out for. I actually have an entire episode titled Non-Vegan Ingredients to Look Out For, and that one has a little freebie that goes with it as well. So if you're curious and you want to print that off or save it on your phone, go find that episode, click on the link, download that little freebie. It's really, really helpful to have that list on hand because some of the stuff doesn't sound like it's not vegan. Some of them are like numbers and letters combined. So if you're interested, go download that. But I'm just going to chat about some that are commonly found in candy that you kind of need to keep an eye out for when you're reading the ingredients list. Okay, so the first one I've got on my list is dairy. This is mostly found in chocolate products, and it'll also sometimes be called milk fat, whey, or casein. And this one's pretty obvious. It comes from a cow's nips. So this one's definitely not vegan. Really don't want to be consuming dairy. It's really not healthy for you. And it is such a terrible industry to buy into. Dairy cows are treated awfully. I have an episode all about cheese. So if you want to dive in a little bit more into what happens to these cows on these factory farms, then please do that if you're unaware, because it's absolutely awful and horrendous. It's really, really bad. So dairy, the number one thing you want to look out for. You also want to be on the lookout for gelatin. This is really common in gummy candies. And gelatin, if you're unaware, is actually boiled animal tendons, ligaments, skin, and bones of cows and pigs. So not only is it not vegan, but it's pretty fucking gross. Like, that's nasty. I don't want to eat gelatin. So commonly found in gummy candies. It's also in like marshmallows typically and Jell-O. So if you're not wanting to consume boiled animal tendons and the like, then steer clear of gelatin. The third one on my list is shellac. This gives candy that like glossy coating. and it's also known as confectioner's glaze. And this is created using the excretions of certain insects. So again, not vegan, not cool, and just kind of unnecessary. So shellac, be on the lookout for that. The next one on my list is carmine. This is usually found in bright red candies, and it's a food coloring made by crushing the shell of a female cochineal insect. And it releases like a vibrant red color. So a lot of candy, some candy will include carmine. It's not vegan. If you're vegan, avoid that. Some candy will have eggs in it. This is obviously not plant-based, not vegan. I also have an episode all about eggs, including backyard eggs and local organic, free range, all of that stuff. So if you're interested in learning more about eggs and why vegans don't consume them, then go check out that episode. But eggs, be on the lookout. Clearly, those are not vegan. Beeswax. Definitely don't want to be consuming beeswax unless you're a vegan that does consume honey or beeswax. My last episode, the episode before last, was all about honey, beeswax, royal jelly, all of the stuff that bees make. And if you're interested in learning about that, go check that out. It's called What's the Deal with Honey? It is one of my most popular episodes, and it's really, really helpful. So beeswax, this can be found in some of like the really firm gummy type candies. So be on the lookout. If you're not stoked on consuming beeswax, then avoid that. And then the last one that I have on my list is bone char. So this isn't going to be like an ingredient on the actual like ingredients list, but for those of you that don't know, some sugar is refined with bone char. So that means they run it through the animal bone char and it makes it that like really white color. Sugar is typically brown. And many supermarket brands and brands used in candy production obtain their sugar from several different refineries. So it's really almost impossible to know whether it's been filtered with bone char or not. If you personally want to avoid all refined sugars, then you can look for sugar alternatives such as sucanat or turbinado and beet sugar. And if this is of concern to you, it really is best to contact the company directly to ask how they source their sugar. One thing that is really helpful is all organic sugar is not filtered through animal bone char. And some vegans avoid sugar and some don't. I personally am one of the ones that doesn't avoid sugar. I know sugar isn't good for you. I don't even feel like I need to say that in this episode, but of course, we don't really want to be consuming a ton of sugar. It really isn't good for your body at all. But since it's Halloween time, I really thought this would be a good time to put this episode out and a good time to chat about all of this because just like a lot of you, I like to eat candy during Halloween time. And I know a lot of you have kids and don't want to just say no Halloween, no trick-or-treating, no candy. A lot of you feel like that's really, really restrictive. And a lot of vegans feel like eating no sugar, unless it's organic sugar, is really, really restrictive as well. And like I always say, veganism is not about being perfect or 100% vegan because that's really pretty much impossible. It's about reducing animal suffering. So consuming products that are 99.9% vegan but may contain trace amounts of animal products is really up to you. So just a heads up, some of the candy I'll be talking about today might be 99.9% vegan. So it really is up to you to decide whether that's something you want to consume or not. And just a couple other little disclaimers before I jump into the list of awesome vegan candy that I've put together for you guys. The candies on my list are vegan, at least at the time of this recording, but it's always smart to check the ingredient list just in case anything has changed or you live in a different country and maybe they make the candy different there. And do the same with any special Halloween versions of any of these, because sometimes they change the standard recipe. Same if you're listening to this before like Valentine's Day. Sometimes certain companies will put out like a Valentine's edition of their candy and it might be a different recipe. So bottom line, read the ingredients lists always. That's just kind of like my go-to, especially if it's like a Christmas or Halloween or Valentine's Day version of the candy. Otherwise, they should be good to go. It's also important to note that some of these candies might be vegan in the United States where I live, but like I said, they might not be vegan in other countries. So again, just check the label. And this isn't every single vegan candy that's out there, but I did my best to list as many candies that I could find were vegan, especially the more common ones. Oh, and the list that I'm going to go through, these are pretty much all of the candy that is accidentally vegan. There are a ton of awesome intentionally vegan candy nowadays, so much more than when I first went vegan 8 years ago, like so many more, like the Unreal products. There's Unreal M&Ms and Justin's. They make a dark chocolate peanut butter cup. Both of those are amazing. They're a little bit more expensive than a lot of these, and they're only available in like select locations. And maybe I'll do another episode about all of that stuff, but I really wanted to stick with the stuff that most people are familiar with and most kids might find in their Halloween basket once they're done trick-or-treating. Those intentionally vegan candies will usually be labeled vegan right on the package. The ones that I'm going to be talking about today probably aren't going to be labeled vegan. They're just accidentally vegan candies. And I wanted to let you know about them because they're really common. And if your kids go trick-or-treating or if you're getting some candy, then these are the ones that you're going to find a lot more regularly than some of the more expensive, intentionally vegan candies. Okay, so before I dive right on into this list, I did want to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Osea Malibu. They are amazing, like I said at the beginning of this episode. It feels so good to have clear skin. My number one insecurity is my skin. I have had hormonal acne on my chin for as long as I can remember, and I just kind of thought that's how it was until I started using Osea Malibu's products. They're just amazing. You guys, I could talk about them forever. It really has changed my life. They're really good quality products. They source their seaweed, which is kind of their like secret little ingredient, which I guess is not so secret because it says it on the list of ingredients. And if you go to their website, they really talk a lot more in depth about their ingredients. But the seaweed, they source it from Patagonia, these like frigid, icy, pure waters. They source everything really ethically. Everything is packaged in these like really nice glass jars, glass bottles, so you don't feel like you're contributing to the plastic waste, which for those of you that have been following me for a while know that living a low impact lifestyle is really important to me. So that's another huge plus. They're a women-owned and family-driven company. They're just such amazing people, and their products are outstanding. So if you are interested in trying out any of the stuff that I've talked about or anything else on their website, you can use the code howtovegan, all one word, at checkout, and you'll get $10 off your first purchase of $50. So really good deal. You can kind of go try out some of their stuff, see what you think, and you get a little discount just for listening to this podcast. So after we've talked about this amazing skincare stuff, let's talk about some ways to just really fuck up your skin. Eating vegan candy. But you know what? It's that time of year where we all like to indulge a little bit. And like I've said, if you got little ones, they probably are going to bring home candy from school, or if they want to go trick-or-treating, then this is just part of it. And if you don't want to be a part of it, that's totally fine too. I'm not saying make your kids go trick-or-treating or let them. You can do Halloween however you want. But for those of you that are interested, I've put together a nice little list. This is a pretty good list of the vegan candy that can be found really in a lot of places out there. And again, I've got a little free PDF download for you that is going to have all of this on there. So I'm going to run through it. I'm going to talk about some of my faves as I hit them on the list. But if you can't remember, don't feel like you need to write all these down. I've got a little list for you. So go click on the link in the show notes, go to my website for the full show notes. There'll be a link for you there, and you can download the list so you just always have it with you. All right, I'm so excited to talk about this list right now. I don't know why. I think because some of it I didn't even realize was vegan and I've just been avoiding. And now I'm like, oh my God, I can eat this. So really excited to dive into this list with you guys today. Okay, first candy on the list is Airheads. This one, I don't think I knew was vegan for a while, but Airheads are vegan and Airheads are really good. It reminds me of like junior high. I used to eat a lot of Airheads in junior high. Airheads, they're vegan. The Annie's organic fruit snacks, those are vegan. So for those of you who are looking for something gummy, a lot of times, like I said, there's gelatin in gummy candies, these fruit snacks. I don't think I've ever had them, but I wanted to put them on the list for those of you that can find Annie's products in your grocery store. Those little gummy stacks, those fruit snacks, the organic ones are vegan. Atomic Fireballs, delicious, vegan. Big League Chew, bottle caps, the Brock's cinnamon hard candy, the Brock's High C fruit slices. See, I didn't know those High C fruit slices were vegan. I just figured they were like those, I just figured there was gelatin in them. So, but they're vegan. And a lot of the Brock's products are vegan. So the next few are going to be the Brock's products. So they're lemon drops, the High C orange slices. I really like those. They're peppermint candies, they're root beer barrels, they're spice drops, they're Star Brights. Those are all vegan. And I think those are available in like most grocery stores. Charms Blow Pops are vegan. Yes, please. I love me some blow pops. I used to eat so many of those in elementary school. It like probably was not okay. And I think I like swallowed the gum too, which probably even worse for me. This might not technically be a vegan candy, but Cracker Jacks, the original recipe, those are vegan. I think a lot of people, well, maybe not like a lot of people, but I think people sometimes will give out Cracker Jacks in their like Halloween candy to kids. And I, for a long time, didn't know that those were vegan. The original recipe are vegan. I had assumed there was like butter in it or whatever, because they're delicious and taste buttery. But the original Cracker Jacks, those are vegan. So if your kids get any of those in their little Halloween basket, is it a basket? Why does that feel weird? Halloween tote? No, I don't know. Halloween, I don't have kids yet. Can you tell? Halloween bucket? I don't know. Anyway, if they get any Cracker Jacks, the original recipe, those are totally vegan. The candy called Crybaby is vegan. Those are like super sour candies. Used to love those. Haven't had them in a long time. Dots, those are another one that I assumed had gelatin in them, but they don't. I found that out a few years ago. I don't really like those. I feel like they're going to rip my teeth out of my gums, but if you're a Dots fan, then those are totally vegan. Dum Dums, Fun Dip, love me some Fun Dip. Fruit by the Foot and Fruit Roll-Ups, those are both vegan. It took me like, I think until last year to realize that. Like I just always assumed they weren't. Those are both vegan, and I think I used to get those a decent amount for Halloween when I was little. So kids, those are good to go. If you're looking for some fruit roll-up stuff, delicious, those are vegan. Gobstoppers, the Hubba Bubba Bubblegum. Oh, that's really fun to say. Hubba Bubba Bubblegum. That is really fun to say. I'm going to say it one more time. Hubba Bubba Bubblegum. Yeah, try to say that right now. Like pause this episode and say Hubba Bubba Bubblegum, because that is really fun to say. That's totally vegan. All of the Jolly Rancher hard candies and lollipops are vegan, but their gummy candies have gelatin in them. But if it's a hard candy or a lollipop, you're good to go. Okay, the next one on my list is Jujubes. Is it Jujubes or Jujubes? I don't know. I always thought there were two E's in it, but it's just Jujubes. Maybe you still say Jujubes. Those are vegan. Those are another like gummy type candy. It's kind of similar to Dots, I think. Those are vegan. Juji fruits. I can't remember what those are, but those, I think they're similar, like kind of like a gummy candy, but Juji fruits, those are vegan as well. I wonder how many times I'm saying vegan in this episode. Probably like a record number of times. So if it's getting annoying, please forgive me. Laffy Taffy, the little fun size Laffy Taffy. And I think the Laffy Taffy like sticks, those are vegan. The big versions still contain egg as of now. So like the bigger giant ones, those are not, but those little fun size Laffy Taffies, the banana flavor is my favorite. I don't know why. I usually don't like banana flavored things. So good. And that's like a really typical Halloween candy, especially like at school or during trick-or-treating to get. So those are good to go. Lemon heads are good to go as well. I don't know why I love lemon heads so much. It's like one of my favorite candies. Lemon heads, totally vegan. The next one is a really good one because Starburst are not vegan, but Mamba Fruit Chews are vegan. So kind of similar. So if you're like bummed that you can't have Starburst, Mamba Fruit Chews, good to go. The next two, I don't know what these are. I don't know if I've ever had any, but Mary Jane. So if you know what that is and you know what I'm talking about, those are vegan. And then Mary Jane Peanut Butter Kisses are as well. Mike and Ike's, yes, those are totally good to go. And speaking of Mike and Ike's, this reminds me to mention hot tamales because I have been eating those for years, totally 100% thought those were vegan, but when doing research for this episode, I found out that they contain shellac. So one of the ingredients that we need to look out for, those have shellac, but Mike and Ike's don't. So Mike and Ike's, totally okay. Nerds, those little fun, little teeny little rock-like candies, those are good to go. Now and Laters. This is probably my favorite candy on this entire list, and they are so hard for me to find now. Like the grape Now and Laters, oh my God, I used to just like love smashing them out, making them kind of soft with my hands, give them some little warmth, and then putting them on the top of my mouth like a retainer. Like I never had braces when I was little, so I never had a retainer, and all the like cool kids had braces and retainers. So I used to like pretend I had a retainer by making one out of Now and Laters, and oh, those flavors are just so good to me. I don't know why. I love them, and they're really hard for me to find. So if anyone has a suggestion on where to like consistently find Now and Laters, hit me up because I need to know. Pez, those are vegan. Pixie Sticks, good to go. Red Vines, okay. Red Vines might actually be my favorite. I know a lot of people hate on Red Vines, but something about that flavor, it's just so good. Like it's really hard for me to go on a road trip without getting Red Vines, especially if they're like new and soft. Like the hard Red Vines can go fuck themselves, but those new Red Vines that are like soft and delicious, if they're fresh, Sign me up. Ring Pops, those are good to go. Skittles, those are vegan. That is like one of the most popular Halloween candies. So if your kids get Skittles in their little basket, maybe that's what it's called. Did I say that earlier? Skittles, those are totally vegan. Smarties, at least the US brand. I found that in a lot of stuff that I was researching said the US brand was, so I don't know what other countries and what they put in it, but at least the US brand is. So if you're getting Smarties in another country, look at, maybe there's like egg white or something, I'm not sure. But if you're in the US, that honestly, that's probably like the most popular Halloween candy because they're super cheap and I love them. I know a lot of people that are like, Smarties, but I like them and they're totally vegan. This one might come as a surprise to those of you who don't know, but Sour Patch Kids are vegan. Like, hell yes. Perfect for movie time with the popcorn. Oh, by the way, like a lot of that popcorn that you get at the theater, including that like gross ass butter that's also kind of delicious that you can put on there, a lot of it is vegan. Like I think all of the Regal theaters, everything about the popcorn is vegan, and you can totally just ask like, hey, is this vegan? And you can probably look it up online too. Maybe I'll do an episode about like vegan movie snacks. That would be kind of fun, like vegan movie theater snacks. But Sour Patch Kids, those are one of my favorites, and they seem like they wouldn't be vegan. They seem kind of like there's gelatin in there, but they're not. They're totally good to go. Super Bubble bubblegum is vegan. I think this is like my mom's favorite. I think this is the kind that she loves. She has like one or two every single night. It's the kind that like the flavor is so good for like 30 seconds and then it just completely goes away and tastes like nothing, and it's so dense and hard to chew. But Super Bubble bubblegum, totally vegan. Sweet Tarts. I haven't had sweet tarts in a long time, but they are good to go. Swedish Fish are vegan. Oh man, you guys, I used to work, my very first job was at a country club in Pocatello, and I worked at the like snack shop, and we sold Swedish Fish, and they were just like open, and you would just like count out how many people wanted. And not gonna lie, I would just eat those like by the handful, and I still, just that flavor is so good to me. I love Swedish Fish. And the Scandinavian swimmers from Trader Joe's are also vegan. So if you have a Trader Joe's in your area, those are kind of similar to the Swedish Fish, except I actually think they're better. There's like several different flavors in there, and those are totally vegan, good to go, and super, super good. So again, if you have a Trader Joe's in your area, go scope those out. Also, the marshmallows at Trader Joe's are vegan. I think they only have one kind of marshmallow and they just like happen to be vegan, or maybe it's intentional. But if you're looking for marshmallows for like camping, for s'mores or whatever, then go ahead and go to Trader Joe's or the Dandies brand, which I think you can find more places. The Marshmallows Dandies brand. Those are vegan too. They don't have gelatin. Most marshmallows have gelatin in them, which again, if you don't feel like eating the boiled ligaments and tendons and bones of cows and pigs, then you probably don't want to be eating regular marshmallows. Okay, a couple more on the list. Twizzlers. Twizzlers are vegan. Those are another really common Halloween candy, at least for me. A lot of the stuff that I'm saying is really common is stuff that I remember getting when I was little, but Twizzlers, totally good to go. And the last one, which again is maybe one of my favorite candies of all time, are Zots. I had some Zots this weekend. Grape Zots, my favorite. They're like those fizzy ones, like you crack them open, or you, if you're patient, you wait for it to like suck down the outer hard candy, and in the middle is like this fizzy, it must be like a powder or something, and when it gets wet it just gets really fizzy in your mouth, and it's so good. Zots, totally good to go. And another thing I wanted to mention is that most dark chocolate is vegan, but definitely check the ingredients first, because a lot of people think that, oh, it's dark chocolate, it's vegan, and then they'll get it home and realize there's a little bit of milk in there or some other non-vegan ingredient. So a lot of dark chocolate is vegan. So if you're a chocolate person, then you can find a lot of dark chocolate out there that is vegan. But again, just check the ingredients first and you're good to go. Milk chocolate, clearly, which a lot of these Halloween candies, Snickers and Milky Ways and all that stuff are made with milk chocolate, and like the name says, there's milk in there. So you're definitely not going to want to be eating these. This is something that maybe you could separate out of your kids' little basket and give to some friends. Or when your kids are picking out their candy from the people who are giving out the candy, they can just try to select things off of this list and leave those candies for people who want to consume the cruel milk. The milk industry is awful. Again, I have an episode all about cheese and I talk a lot about it there, so go check that out if you haven't. But again, most dark chocolate is vegan. So if you're into chocolate like I am, I love chocolate so much, then you're going to want to get dark chocolate. And it's not just like the dark, bitter chocolate that's vegan. A lot of that dark chocolate has, really similar taste to milk chocolate, maybe a little bit more bitter. And a lot of companies now are making like vegan milk chocolate. So they're out there, it's coming, it's expanding. But for now, it's kind of simple. Just keep to the dark chocolate, turn it over, check the ingredients list, and you should be good to go. Alrighty, that is my list from A to Z of my vegan candy that I put together for you guys. So I hope you found this episode really helpful. I hope you're listening to this around Halloween time and you feel a little bit more hopeful. I remember when I first went vegan, I was like, what? I'm not going to be able to eat any candy around Halloween time. And when I have kids, they're not going to be able to participate. But you just saw, or you just heard how many like typical candies that you can find in a lot of stores just are accidentally vegan. So don't be stressing and don't worry about it. There's a lot of stuff that you can actually find that is vegan. And then you're not contributing to the cruel practices of the other companies that use animal ingredients. And don't forget to go check out Osea Malibu. I'll leave the link to their website in the show notes and check out some of their products. And if you find something you really, really like, then use the code howtovegan at checkout and you'll get $10 off your first purchase of $50. Make sure you're subscribed to the How to Vegan Podcast YouTube channel. It's a really good place to leave a comment, ask questions, give me a suggestion for any episodes that you might want to hear. Go follow at How to Vegan Podcast on Instagram. That's like my favorite place to connect with you guys. I love when you take a little screenshot and share the episode, or you can just send me a little DM and connect with me that way. I love connecting with you guys on all of the platforms. A little reminder to go to Apple Podcasts and please leave a rating and review. It's just so helpful. I cannot even stress enough. So again, thank you so much for those of you who have done that. It really means the world to me. And like I've mentioned before, all of the links, everything that I mentioned in this episode will be available over on kristenpound.com/podcast under the specific podcast episode. So anything that I mentioned, I'll leave links for you guys. The little freebie link will be there. All of the stuff about Osea and the discount code, everything will be there for you guys. I like to have really good show notes, and that's where you can find everything. So kristenpound.com, you can click on the podcast tab, find this episode, and you'll find everything that you need. So thanks again for listening. You guys are awesome. I love those of you that listen all the way to the end. Y'all are the real champions. So thank you so much. I hope you found this episode really, really helpful. And I will just catch you guys in the next episode of the How to Vegan Podcast. Peace.